do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Yes, welcome back to Poetry and Police. Today is October 14th, 2021. Good afternoon to you all. Today I am going to talk about the decision by our leaders to revamp the protective service, or what we call the PSB. All I can say is, what next? First, immigration was turned over to civilians. FLA to civilians. Well, FLA is privatized. Now the protective service. So I have to ask myself, what next? And I know most police officers and even Jamaicans who have heard about this decision is asking themselves, what next? When I ask myself what next, I'm saying to myself, are they going to change the mounted troops police officer to the jockeys from Caymanas Park? You know, that's what I'm thinking about. That's the way I see it. The JHF is run by a military man in the first place, not a police. The FLA moved uptown for their rich friends. The FLA is privatized, like I said before. All this is happening in front of our eyes, from some oversight plans by the Jamaican government and their friends, for all I am concerned. But back to the matter of hand. The consideration of using civilians to replace the police at the Protective Services Branch, the PSB. This branch was established for the protection of our members of parliament, for example, prime ministers, MPs, dignitaries, and even visiting heads of state from other countries. This branch is like the Secret Services of America. You know, United States Secret Service, who bodyguards the president's close protection officers. So our PSB is that kind of branch. We protect our heads of state. The protection of any country must not at any time be placed in the hands of any civilian body or no security company, for all I am concerned. The Protective Services Branch must not comprise of any other than highly trained agents of the state. Police officers who are close protection officers to ensure the safety of Jamaica's state officials. The safety of Jamaica's state official members of government, cabinet, ministers, and, etc. Replacing police officers for these functions by the Protective Services Branch will not only put state representatives at risk, but the whole country. Apart from breach of security, danger to their lives of our state agents, replacing the PSB with say, security companies will cost even more money to pay, hence put more strain on our taxpayers. Because, for example, a policeman's salary is A. To pay a security company is B, which is always more expensive than paying a police officer. So why would the government choose to use private security companies or private entities to protect their leaders? Why would the government want to do that? Remember, every ministry in Jamaica is run off a budget. So, therefore, if you change the PSB and is now using private security companies to safeguard our state leaders, then it will put more strain on the Ministry of National Security's budget. And as we speak, we cannot even, the budget is always in deficit. There's not even enough money to buy enough guns or more vehicles for police to operate the police department. So why choose now to revamp, or even thinking about revamping the PSB to use private entities, which will cost more money in the long run and put more strain on our taxpayers? How can the PM even think about that? We must remember that now is a very hard time in Jamaica, man. You have the COVID-19 is putting a whole lot of stress on Jamaica right now. This unemployment level is at the highest. People are suffering in Jamaica. Inflation is at the highest it has ever been in years in Jamaica. So why would the Prime Minister even think about revamping the PSB and using private entity that costs more money at this time? I don't understand that, Mr. Prime Minister. Sir Andrew Holness, you will have to explain that to me and probably the whole Jamaica if you go ahead and do this. You see, our leaders are wasting tremendous revenue on FLA already with private security companies when police officers are better yet trained. District constables could have been placed at the FLA instead. I don't want to stray from the point, but I'm making an example. If you go to the FLA, you will realize not police officers at FLA. There's security guards at FLA. Security guards cost more money than paying district constables. So why would the government choose to use security officers that cost more money than putting district constables at the FLA? And this is the same thing that they are trying to do now. They're trying to replace that cost more money in the long run. But they don't care about the Jamaican people. All they care about is their friends in high places who own security companies. And you know what happened during in any election? Everybody donations. They call it donations, but they're not donations. They're sellouts or buyouts. Can I get that contract? Yes, you have to pay this. That is what is happening in Jamaica. That is the corruption of politics in Jamaica, and it's being trickled over the police into the police department, which at the latter part of it will cause strain on the Jamaicans taxpayers, and at this people are not employed and stuff like that. Then why would the Prime Minister want to do that? These contracts we ultimately put money in their pockets. Like I said before, elections are won by donations in the form of buyouts. I repeat that, and contracts are sold to the highest bidder. So promises have to be kept, but not the one to ensure that taxpayers' money are well spent. But it would seem they now see it as a way more practical to replace police protection for their gunmen associates. The day PSB is revamped, will bring death to Jamaican policing as it is right now. It will bring death to the country, devastation to the country of a magnitude that Jamaica will not return from. Our leaders have a plan, and that does not include our security forces. Look around you. The Commissioner of Police is a soldier, not a police officer. FLA is run by civilians. Immigration is run by civilians. And now they are dragging their net of corruption over the PSP. I have to ask again, what next? What next? Replacing the JCF with soldiers or even civilians too? Because at the rate that the government is going, that is where it's going. Jamaica, you better wake up and see the destruction that Andrew Holness and his friends are bringing upon us. Jamaica is now labeled as a danger travel zone. What next? The PM, the CEP cannot put in place a proper crime plan, but yet they are both sail Jamaican ship into the harbor of destruction. This PSB is one of the most vital area of state security, secrets and safety in our country. If we allow them to revamp PSB, we will surely have lost the war on crime. I will repeat that. If they revamp the PSB, we will have lost the war on crime. Sir Andrew Holness, tell me, sir, what is your plans for Jamaica that does not include the misappropriate use of our taxes? That does not include the destruction of our police department. Our people have rights to choose. I will say this, any member of state, Prime Minister, MP, etc., who need protection from a civilian body must do so or is free to do so at their own cost, not the cost of the taxpayers' money. The PSB not only offers protection, but it also prevents breaches of those under their protection, accountability, of movements of these politicians, and proof of their associations, That's what the PSB is there for, Not just to protect, but also to prevent corruption, to prevent them from being corrupted, to prevent them from associating with criminal elements. But you know what? These agents of state have seemed to have a way of manipulating their PSB officers over the years into their corruptive ways. Some of Jamaican's leaders, if not all, hate this fact. They can corrupt some of the PSB protection officers, but not all. Not all is for sale. Example, when I was stationed at the Huntsby police station, an MP from I think it was from the jungle area, came to a gunman funeral by Agley Park Road, did not inform the SSP at Huntsby of his visit, that he was even coming into the area, because guess what? He did not want to make his visit public because he was attending a gunman funeral. So he came to that funeral with his PSB officers that day without informing the station. And this is why I tell you that some of the PSB officers have been corrupted by the politicians that they bodyguard. Because the supervisor for his team should have informed the station that they were visiting, but they also did not do that. But because I guess they were following orders. So he came to the church in Hagley Park Road, and cronies of that gangster came to that church, and there was a big shootout. His life was in danger, and the lives of the PSB officers was also in danger. Luckily, my unit was in the area, and we intervened, and there was a shootout, and the men escaped, and their lives were spared. So these are also some of the things that the PSB is there for. Not just to protect, but also to prevent corruption, or to prevent these MPs or leaders from getting corrupted or getting involved with the wrong crowd. Actions like these, will happen regular without the PSB. It's obvious that this politician did not report his actions to the SSP. Can you imagine if he had civilian? Can you imagine how many politicians are doing this, or how many politicians will be doing actions like this if the PSB is revamped to a civilian body? I will say this, revamping the PSB, is a no, and the Jamaican people and fellow police officers should never stand for this. And you see Jamaica being far more corrupted and crime invested than it ever has been before, if this happens. As our people, must not allow this atrocity to take place. Please let us not hand over to Jamaica to criminals. Revamping the PSB is the worst decision that this Prime Minister could ever make. Revamping the PSB is like revamping the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The PSB protects our heads of state. PSB must not be revamped.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?